Okay, so welcome everybody to Huddly's Q1 2023 results presentation. I'm Graham Williams, I'm the CEO of Huddly, and I'm joined by our CFO, Abby Bannock. So let's just go to the next slide. So these are the key highlights of our Q1 this year. So we shipped our very first Huddly Crew product, which is our AI-directed multi-camera system, which I'll talk about quite a bit later on in the presentation. But the team at Huddly is very, very proud of that product, and it builds on our long history in AI, and it's won quite a few awards already, which is just very good. Unfortunately, we were also impacted by downstream supply chain issues. And as you can see on the graph there to the right, sharp decline in sales through one of our main strategic partners set us back as they are missing other parts to their solution. This did, however, result in a higher portion of our sales being through our channel business, which we continue to build out and invest in, and that resulted in a higher gross margin, as you can see, and really getting back up to where we need that gross margin to be. So that's moving in the right direction. We spent a lot of work and a lot of time this quarter on our reshaping our strategy, and we continue to invest in that strategy, particularly in research and development. But we're also very, very aware of our near-term challenges, and we're managing those very tightly. Let's go to the next slide. So as I said in my first update, there's really 4 priorities at Huddly we're working on, and everybody at Huddly is working incredibly hard every day. So the first one is to continue to lead with technology innovation. Huddly is a technology company. That's what we're about. And really, Huddly Crew is a fantastic example of that. And we'll continue to lead this growth through continued R&D investments. We'll strengthen our strategic partnerships, which we're doing. We put a lot of effort into that with some great results. And we're also investing in our channel sales. So we're also working to broaden our revenue base out as well. So you can see there that we're getting our product mix more of the percentage that we really want it to be. We would like it to be done differently, but this is an indication of where we'd like the business to be in the medium to long term. Our third objective, obviously, is to increase margins, which we're working on. Supply chain starting to normalize for us now, which is helping with that. And also higher channel sales and monetizing our software solutions. And the Huddly Crew is an excellent example of that. But also our L1 product, we're monetizing that software through speaker framing, as you'll see us doing in other products as we push forward. And also gallery view on our IQ product as well. So lots of software going in there. And obviously managing costs is something we're focused on, and you'll see as we roll through the presentation, we've stabilized those costs, and we'll start bringing them down. But we've made a very important decision, management along with the board, to do this without jeopardizing our long-term growth opportunities. That's incredibly important to us at Huddly. So next slide, I think over to you, Abby.
Thank you very much, Graham. So I have the pleasure of going through a bit about how we think about our market opportunity. And we'll do this by me first giving a bit of details on how we see the market and its development going forward. And then Graham will talk a bit more about how we see ourselves positioning in that market.
Yep.
So let's start off with the fundamental question of why we exist as a company. So really the fundamental question of our purpose. So the purpose of Huddly is that we empower human collaboration, and that has been a fundamental important element for human beings for ages. So we at Huddly, we are all about empowering that. Then the question is, how do you do that? The question is, what kind of actions and behaviors do we have in order to address the why? So we believe in challenging the status quo to make hybrid teamwork productive and inclusive. And hybrid teamwork is one very important topic, which we will also talk a bit more in this section. Bringing down to the physical and the what of the company. So that's our products, which we're really proud of. So we craft intelligent cameras that combine AI, hardware, software, and machine learning. So that's the link between the why, the how we do that, and the what, which is our products. So talking a bit more about the mega trend, which we are riding this wave on. And we see that currently that the workplace is converging towards hybrid mode. So we have some statistical evidence of the market, the workplace going forward towards a convergence of about 2 to 3 times a week working from home or the office. And in this scenario, we see that there's a lot of challenges in collaborating. So when people stay at different places, they participate in video conferencing, and that exposes them to new challenges in terms of meeting fatigue, in terms of being included and feeling productive in those meetings. And this case is in general valid for most industries, but is mostly prevalent in white-collar industries such as IT, finance and insurance, and professional and business services. So then the question is, what does that matter? How does that matter for Huddly? So we believe in using technology to solve hybrid collaboration pain points. So pain points such as meeting fatigue, not feeling included, and productive in meetings is at the core of what the problems that we are solving. So we use technology such as AI, machine learning, to provide video experiences that are engaging and also reduces meeting fatigue. And Huddly Crew, which we'll talk about a bit more later, is a clear testament to how we do that. Looking a bit more into the market itself, the first thing to note here is that it's a big market. So it's approximately $3 to $4 billion market, and it's set to grow quite strongly towards 27. And there are different researches on the market expectations, but we see that in general there's a general consensus of the market having a strong growth towards the next few years. This growth is mainly driven by increased penetration rates in addition to higher prices, such as intelligent features. So the first point being that we see increased penetration, we see that development from approximately 10% of meeting rooms being enabled by video, and it's set to increase to about 20% in the next 5 years. So this is a very attractive market for us, and it's not only the volume, it's also the prices, because with increased intelligent features demanded by the end customers, is also the case that we can command higher prices. So those two in combination makes this a very attractive market. And we have the products that can cater to all different scenarios, whether it's small meeting rooms, mid-large, or large meeting rooms, or any other scenarios. We have all the products in our portfolio to solve the pain points and the demands for these different rooms. So that's the market backdrop, and Graham, maybe you can take a bit more further on how we can position ourselves in this market.
Sure, it's one of my favorite subjects, so that should be pretty easy. So what Huddly is about at the moment is shaping a new category for AI multi-camera systems, which is really what a lot of the enterprises and government organizations are very focused on at the moment, is how do we, as Abby just said, how do we get people more included and more engaged in these hybrid workplaces? So if you look over to the left, and I think it's important, there's a lot of talk about AI at the moment. I don't think you can really open any kind of media without reading something about AI. That's certainly what I'm seeing anyway. But it's important to remember that Huddly started back in 2013. It's a long time ago now, working with AI. So we've got a lot of we've got 67 very talented people now working in our R&D engineering part of Huddly. And AI is at the core of everything we do. And certainly when I first got involved with this company. So we started off with our IQ, which was a camera, and a small camera there to the left. And that camera, even today, we continue to roll out new AI features, which is pretty incredible, really. I can't think of any hardware that comes to mind where that many years later, I think 18, we started rolling that out, and we're still rolling out new AI features on that. We rolled out the new gallery view, which is the four split on that, which really amazed a lot of people in the industry. And I was just reading some write-ups today about that, which is pretty incredible. And then we increased that with the L1. Which is our medium large room camera, which has been very well received. And we brought the same AI technology onto that camera with more processing and so on. And then really, the dotted line in the middle really is quite a changing point for Huddly. And this is why the shipment of this crew product is just so incredibly important. We've been investing in this for a long time now. In the previous quarterly update, Stonover gave us a bit of an insight into some of the thinking behind it, but it's been very, very well received. But this is defining a new category in AI camera systems. And yes, we expect our competitors to copy us as usual. But we're confident, we're investing, and we're continuing to develop and own this category. But all based on AI and machine learning, which dates back to 2013, which is a very long time ago. So we've been around in this AI space for a very long time. Let's just move on to the next slide. So these three cameras hanging out together here is super interesting, and this is what gets me very energized about this company. And quite frankly, one of the key reasons I decided to come on as CEO is so these three cameras are basically behaving like a director. And the incredible thing is they're all talking to each other now. So there's three cameras here are talking to each other. They're looking at people. They're making decisions about shots. And as we're in the middle of our early adopter program at the moment, which is going well. But as we're developing this AI software that runs these cameras, the thing that's surprising me, and I'm generally surprised quite often at Huddly about what we can do with our technology, even though I've been doing it for a very long time now, is the curve, the learning curve of these AI devices, and what they can do. So basically, you've got three cameras working together, making decisions, talking to each other as a normal movie director or television director would do, and that just really makes people feel included. I mean, I work hybrid a lot from our Oslo office. I do a lot of video conferencing, and I've got to the point now with the poor team in Oslo know that if Graham's on a call, it better be Huddly crew, because the experience is just so much better and just helps me engage. So let's just move on from that. So this is some of the market attention we've got, which has quite honestly been pretty overwhelming. And we expect that over time this will translate into revenue. For some of the awards we've won, the Red Dot Award 2023 it's a design award, and this isn't just any old Red Dot Award that you see a lot of companies talking about. This is the best of the best, which is just incredible. For a company of our size, is punching incredibly above its weight, and a real credit to everybody at Huddly who's been involved in this. And then in the middle, the Frost & Sullivan Best Practices Award for video conferencing peripheral in North America, which is just another amazing award when you consider the depth and the talent, and quite frankly, the resources of the companies that we're competing against. to achieve this is mind-blowing, really. And our and our team who brought this award together really need to be credited again. And then another award is the IF award, and this is a gold award, which is another. These are the very, very top level of these awards. So it talks to the Scandinavian design. It talks to what we've achieved. So we're very, very proud. We understand we need to translate these awards into revenue, but we're working really, really hard on that, led by our channels team. We've done hundreds of demos, which are well received, and we've got a registered interest of lots and lots of companies over a couple of trade shows, significant trade shows we've done there, and we'll continue to roll this out at Infocom, which is the massive trade show in Orlando in June next month. So we're very proud, but we're also very realistic that there's a lot of hard work to be done, and we need to turn these awards into revenue, and the revenue into gross margin, and the gross margin into profitability. We certainly get all that, and the team's fully focused on making that happen. But these are great forward indicators of what can be achieved. So moving on to you, Abby.
Thank you very much, Graham. So let's turn to the financial side of this presentation. And before I start off with going through the slides, I would first like to make a remark that we have transitioned from simplified IFRS to full IFRS. So in the annual report, which was published yesterday, we have now published everything in IFRS full standard. And that has also been converted with historical figures. And that's also the case for this presentation. So all the numbers that you'll see from here are full IFRS numbers. Let's start off with the P&L and start off with the revenue development side. So as already mentioned by Graham, we had a tough quarter where we landed at 51 million NOK compared to 113 million NOK the previous quarter. So that was a 55% decrease compared to Q1 22. The main driver behind that decline was a decrease in strategic partner sales. However, we see that channel sales remains stable. So really the reason behind this sharp decline is that it reflects the downstream supply chain issues that we see. So a strategic partner who is lacking other parts in the solution has postponed orders, which again has impacted demand for Huddly's products. Looking at the gross margin picture, we see that the overall development has upticked from 39% to 46% in Q1 23. And the explanation behind that is that the customer mix has changed, with lower sales through strategic partners, while channel has remained stable. So although we of course are aiming for higher sales, and although low sales in the quarter was the case, the sales mix between channel and strategics is more in the line that what we will expect and are working towards in the long term. So this development really shows the potential in the company in terms of gross margin generation. So summarizing with this condensed P&L statement, as already mentioned, revenue down to 51. As a result, gross profit down to 23, gross margin at 46%. And as already mentioned also by Graham, we have an active approach of managing our cost base. So we see that this year we are significantly below budget compared to what we had initially. And we also see that the second half year of this year, costs will be lower than the first half year. And that is mainly because of active measures we have been doing on different cost items, as well as having a restrictive rehiring policy. Looking at the R&D investments, we are doing all this to enable us to succeed in the future. So we are investing for the long-term value. So Huddly Crew is one clear example. That's a result of years of investment and recruiting and attracting the talent that can actually make these products happen. So Capitalized R&D cost was at 20 million NOK for Q1, which is more or less in the same line as historical figures. So this stable R&D level is at around level that we expect to defend our leading position in the market. So you have this organization with talented engineers with deep extensive experience within AI, machine learning and software development. And this is the organization that is building the moats around us as a company to defend our position and unique products. Of course, we need to translate these investments into monetization, and it is of our most priority to increase gross margins by commanding higher prices, by enabling the cameras with more software that can again be delivered to the customers to solve their customer pain points. If we go forward with the cash flow, cash at end of last year ended at 184, and cash at end of Q1 ended at 114 million NOK. The decline was mainly driven by cash flow negative decline from operations, as explained by the decline in sales. Cash flow from investments was a total of 27 million, and 20 million, as already mentioned in the previous slide, was related to capitalized R&D. We also had 5 million NOK in the cash flow from financing activities. So the company is in the final process of securing a committed loan facility of an aggregated amount of up to 100 million NOK, which we believe will secure the financing and the liquidity position of the company. Of this, about 55 million is committed from shareholders and companies associated with Huddly. And that concludes the financial part of the presentation, and I will give the word over to you, Graham.
Thank you. All right, let's go to the next slide. So as we've said through the presentation, indirect supply chain issues affected our shipment volumes significantly in the first quarter, and this is expected to remain the case in the second and the third quarters of this year. We expect to see indications of sales growth returning in the third quarter, with potential effects from the fourth quarter. But the overall long-term outlook for the industry we're in, and for Huddly in particular, remains strong. And as we keep saying through this presentation, we'll continue to invest and lead with technology. And I think Huddly Crew is an excellent example of that. Next slide. I'll just finish up with 4 priorities I set when I began this journey as CEO. So firstly, and number 1, continue to lead with technology innovation. This is critical. This is a technology company. This is what we do. This is why we're here. This is what we'll invest in. I can't make it any clearer than that. Something we think about every single day at Huddly. Number 2, strengthen our strategic partnerships and our channel sales. We're working very hard on that, and we're getting some great success, which will show through as the year progresses. Increase gross margin. This will be done a couple of ways. Firstly, by increasing our channel sales, and more importantly, through monetizing on our software. Pretty fantastic artificial intelligence software. And fourthly, and something I think everybody at Huddly wakes up and thinks about every day, is how do we manage our costs to address our near-term challenges. And I think we're seeing some success of that. All right, so let's flip to the next, which is Q&A. So far, there aren't any questions there.
So I have 3 questions here from
good.
So maybe I can
Sure, go for it.
Yeah. So the first question is, can you say something about what type of components in the partner solution that are affected by supply chain issues?
I can take that if you like, given I work with the strategic partners pretty much every day. I mean, we can't be disclosing parts of our partner supply chain, but they are well on top of it, and they're really working through it, and they're making great progress. So we do expect the situation to resolve itself.
Good, thank you. So next question. Huddly is a leading player as regards technology advanced approaches to video conferencing, with Huddly Crew in forefront in this regard. I assume that this also means that Huddly's products are relatively expensive. Do you see a keen interest among customers to invest in these features? And have you had a dialogue with relevant customers as a basis before developing these products?
That's a great question, isn't it? So yes, they are. Huddly Crew has got an MSRP of around 12,000 US, and the team at Huddly put a lot of really deep thinking into that price point, and more importantly, where does it sit? What value does it offer? And what will the market pay? So we did a lot of this research, which Abby, I know you were deeply involved with, and we've landed in we think the right place. We're not getting any pushback on price in the market, which is great. And in fact, if you look at the Frost and Sullivan report, those people who have read that, there's some comments I think Abby included in our written report, the great value that it offers. So Abby, I know this is a deep subject for you around pricing and Crew. Do you want to add some stuff? You probably do, I'm guessing.
Yeah, sure. So I think the main approach we have towards pricing is that we have a value-based approach of pricing. So it's all about, again, being customer-oriented and see what kind of value we can capture from solving customer real issues. So Huddly Crew is something unique in the market. There are none other competing products able to do the same AI director technology as us. And at the same time, we are providing a price which is still lower than other competing products, which are much more mechanical based and much more complex. So I think we see a lot of interest because of that balance hitting between something of a product which is approachable by most companies, and at the same time being a good experience solving real issues. And to the second part of the question, whether we had a dialogue with relevant customers, and that is really the heart of everything we do at Huddly. So we have a clear way of thinking about design. So we do a lot of customer observations. We are customer obsessed. We interview people in other parts of industries to get their insights and knowledge. So for example, Huddly Crew was based on interviews with movie producers. So we do a lot of work before we do any development of any code, and that is very important to emphasize. That is how we are on top of and invest in the future is by having that first step before we do any software development and hardware development.
Yep, absolutely, Abby. So the next question is, has Huddly lost market share in 22 and Q1 23? There's not a lot of data you can really go to. I mean, I know people report their results, but I've been looking at market share in data in the conferencing industry for over 30 years now. So I don't believe we've lost market share. So the revenue downturn, as we said in Q1, is to do with a significant partner needing some components to finish their solutions, which they will. I don't think that's a loss of market share. In our channels business, my gut feel is that we're actually gaining market share. That's what I think is happening there. But more importantly, with the Huddly Crew, we're actually creating a new category. So if you look at the AI multi-camera solutions, there's a couple of people talking about having products in that space, but we're shipping it and we're developing it and we're leading. So we're we do a lot of talking at Huddly, as Abby will know, about red ocean and blue ocean, something, you know, which market are we going to be in? Where are we can compete? Where can we win? So I think we're gaining market share, but more importantly, we're creating new categories, which is for a company like Huddly critically important. I might as well take the next one as well. These are great questions, so we certainly appreciate them. So the next one is, you don't seem to get a grip on the channel sale. Please provide your assessment on what are the main challenges and how you intend to resolve the situation, and how long time will you go on the channel sales without achieving satisfactory results. So our Chief Commercial Officer, Daniel, there's been working incredibly hard with his team. They only today launched our partner program, which has been at least 6 months in the making, with a lot of effort. So if you go to the Huddly.com webpage, you'll see become a partner now, and behind that is a very deep channel program. So Daniel's got a lot of experience in this industry, from Tamberg and from Cisco. So he's opened a lot of markets. He's fixed a lot of problems for a lot of companies, and he's doing a great job for us. So so yeah, channel sales is the core of what we do. So that's one of our 2 go-to-market strategies, and we do expect to achieve satisfactory results. We have in the past, and that was proven in past results, which some of you may remember, and we expect to do that again. But it's a really, really good question. This is it. I'm liking these questions. Have you experienced interest from possible strategic partners, or taken or considered taking in the initiatives? We get pretty much continual requests from strategic partners, but we're very selective on who we deal with, and the partners we've got, we really respect, and we invest heavily into those relationships. Yes, there will be future strategic partners that are new, and we are working on that constantly. It's part of what we do at Huddly, but it's a big investment to align with a strategic partner, and it's a big initial investment. It's a big ongoing investment. It's an engineering investment. So yeah, we certainly will have new strategic partners. That's something that I'm very focused on achieving. Okay, next one. Mr. Williams stated a main challenge: translating the many awards into revenue. Have you considered structural moves, i.e. sale of the company? Has there been any interest in this regard? I don't think it's, if I said it's a challenge, I probably said the wrong thing. I don't think it's a challenge. I think it's an opportunity, and it's a job to be done. So we don't just think having a bunch of shiny trophies on the shelf and a great awards hanging on the wall is the end game. But it's certainly an opportunity, and it's certainly something we take a lot of pride in. But it's certainly a great forward indicator of success when third parties are validating our work at such a high level. So I think it's a massive opportunity. Have you considered structural moves, sale of the company? Well, that's really something for the board. Has there been any interest? I can't disclose that. Unfortunately, can you talk about, and the last question I've got here, can you talk about the selective channel partner program? What has driven this, and when do you expect to see results? So I can take that question as well. It's something that we've given a lot of thought to, and in particular, Daniel, our Chief Commercial Officer, has really brought this with us. So Huddly is a high-end product, and I've been selling high-end technology my whole life, and it takes an investment effort from the partner. The partner has to invest in demonstration equipment. They have to invest in training their people. They have to invest in building a sales pipeline and in translating that value to the end users. So it's quite a big job. So Daniel and his team have built a selective channel program to make sure that those partners can get a return and a value on their efforts, because they want to make money. So any of you who read, I mean, Daniel did a great write-up, which only got launched today, about the background of the partner program. So I commend anyone to read that. But what he talks about in that is that in this industry, through the pandemic and even before the pandemic, and afterwards, there's been this drive to the bottom, cheaper, simpler. And I think we've got now, last count we did internally was 45 video soundbars looking pretty much the same. And that makes it very difficult for the partner to make a living, and very hard to add value. So we're going to be very selective about selecting high-end partners who understand artificial intelligence, understand creating value for end customers and end users, creating the right user experience. And then the partner program is very much around helping those people achieve a return on their investment, so then they continue to invest in us and on. So as you've seen with the Huddly crew, I mean, it's a 3-camera system at the moment, but that'll only get better and build out from there. So that's we're very committed to both of our go-to-market efforts, and the R&D that backs it. I think that's the last question, isn't it, Abby?
It looks like it.
All right. So we really thank everybody who's made the effort to join us on this call. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your interest and support of Huddly. And Abby and I will now get back to work and see you for next quarter. But thank you very much. And Abby, do you want to say goodbye as well?
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.